Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Matt Bernier. It's Derby Day at Hastings on Saturday. The Grade 3 British Columbia Derby is carded as race number 8. You can play it with a DRF Bets account. Sign up, get a 300% deposit match. All you have to do is go to bets.drf.com, sign up for a new DRF Bets account. Here's the field for the Grade 3 British Columbia Derby. We're going a 3-turn 9 furlongs for $150,000. Again, carded as race number 8. It's a big full field. Matt, let's take this field in post-position order, beginning with the number 1, Day Raider, who was a stakes winner 2 starts back at Hastings, going 3 turns. And last time out, I thought ran really well in the Grade 3 Canadian Derby, stretching all the way out.
Yeah, no real argument with that most recent start. I think this is a pretty consistent horse. I guess the concern or the problem would be I don't know that consistent is necessarily good enough to win in a spot like this on Saturday. I'm anticipating him to come with a late run. But you look at him from a figure standpoint and you say, okay, we've gone out 7 times. He's kind of plateaued a little bit in that mid-70 range. I think it's probably going to take somewhere in the low 80s to be a true win threat in here.
But you're surely right about his consistency. Never off the board from 7 lifetime starts. He could work out a nice ground-saving trip. Again, 3 turns. He might be able to save ground and get a good pace in front of him. The 2 not yet exploded last time out. And maybe this is just a case of a late-developing 3-year-old coming to hand at the right time. Not yet had run 6 times. His best buyer was a 63. Last time out, he exploded to an 82, and he came from the back of the pack. He should get pace yet again. Maybe not yet is sort of the sleeper at a price.
Yeah, I'm going to use this horse underneath. I don't know. To me, this was the most difficult horse to make a call on because I don't know where that run came from. There was no equipment change. There was no, at least not that I'm aware of. And you go through and you look at the form prior to that, there was nothing at all that would suggest that you were ready for an effort like that. That's the highest last out buyer in the field in 82. If you think that he's capable of doing that, yeah, he is certainly a player, and 12-1 is very, very appetizing.
The number 3 is Pickford. This horse beat a couple of next out winners over a sloppy track at Oaklawn Park over the spring. Ran pretty well in a couple of turf races at Churchill Downs. And then it looks like he was sent over here to compete in these derbies, these rich events. And he just hasn't run very well at Northlands Park. Do you think it's the configuration? Do you think it's the company? I'm a little confused. I thought Pickford would have done a little bit better, especially 2 starts back.
I think it's probably a combination of all of those things. I think it's hard to ignore the fact that 2 of his best races to date have come on turf, and he's had okay form on the main track, but I wonder if this is as simple as he's probably just a significantly better horse on grass than he is on dirt.
The number 4 is Appalachie Bay, and Appalachie Bay has a good amount of early speed. It was on display in his last 3 races. Now, he was beaten at even money last time out, going a mile and a 16th, but he set some legitimate fractions that set up horses like Day Raider coming from the back of the pack. The problem is the pace should be fast again, as we see from the Timeform US Pace Projector, where they have Appalachie Bay out in front, but that red bar cautions us to think this pace could be fast and it could hurt the front runners.
Yeah, if you think that you're going to get a spirited pace on the front end with a horse like this, Appalachie Bay, you're stretching out an extra 16th of a mile, which clearly he felt the effects of that most recently. I don't know. You look, he takes money in each and every one of his starts. I'd imagine he's going to be somewhere as one of the choices. He's not going to be the favorite, but he's just the kind of horse to me. I don't love the way this race sets up.
He's trained by Philip Hall, who also conditions the number 5 Wise Market, who was up close to the pace in his most recent start, taking on an odds-on winner. He gave that horse all he could handle in the stretch en route to a career-best 75 buyer speed figure. Now, it's possible that Wise Market might be the one that could be sent to the front, and they may try to rate Appalachie Bay this time around. I wouldn't be surprised if Wise Market's a little bit closer to the lead. I think he's kind of exposed, though, after 12 starts.
Yeah, it's possible that maybe we've seen his ceiling, what his best is. I will say it's nice to know that race most recently came against older horses and he ran just fine. But you bring up an important piece, I think. This horse, I think if you just look at the 3 most recent runs, you're going to say, oh, well, he could take advantage of that pace scenario. All 3 of his wins have come in gate-to-wire fashion. And I do wonder, like you say, if the connections believe the 4 horse is a little bit more talented and has more quality, maybe the 5 Wise Market is the one that is sent on the mission to try to get up there and compromise some of the other speeds.
We know trainer Robertino Stefano Diodoro for being a high percentage trainer in the United States. But he is simply a genius at finding these mid to high price claiming runners, sending them up to Canada for these big races, and scoring out. Case in point this year, he claimed Sky Promise for $40,000 out of a losing turf effort at Churchill Downs, and this horse has rolled through the Manitoba Derby and the Canadian Derby, and he overcame a real slow pace to win last time out. You could argue he's the horse to beat given this pace scenario.
I think he probably is. And like you say, Diodoro with this sort of move, he reminds me of Mike Maker taking turf runners and stretching them out. I mean, this is just a move that he's had tremendous success with. And I think you have to take anything that he throws out seriously. Look, he's 3-1 on the morning line. I think he's probably going to borderline be the favorite when it's all said and done. If you're playing any sort of a multi-race wager, I think you absolutely have to use him because I think he's the most likely winner.
The number 7 is Chef. This horse is still a maiden after 8 lifetime starts. He came with a solid enough run last time out and a maiden optional claimer. I think he's in here because his shrewd trainer believes distance is really going to be his friend, but he is going to have to improve by a long way to take down this good field.
Yeah, right now the Chef's just a little slow.
Tito Ship, 63 buyer last time out on August the 20th. My issue is, while he was the favorite that day, and I thought he ran okay trying to move into that race, he's been beaten by several of these horses already, and I'm just not sure if he's ever going to get back to that winning form at Gulfstream on New Year's Day.
And unfortunately, through 9 lifetime starts, a career best figure of 70, and by the way, he did that in his 3rd lifetime start. He's just not fast enough right now to be considered a legitimate threat to win here. If you want to say maybe he can hang around and run underneath at a big number, that's fine, but I just can't imagine him winning the race.
The 9 El Noble could be part of this pace picture. He was up close most recently in that race where Day Raider ran down Appalachie Bay, ran down El Noble. El Noble was a pleasant surprise to his backers that day at 30-1, and it looks like that he is just really appreciated since being allowed to stretch out to a route distance. He'll be close to the pace here. I still think it's a bit of a class test, but this horse is improving.
I don't think he ran terribly most recently, and I agree with you. He feels like one of those horses that I'm not convinced that he's really a win threat, but he's the kind of horse, he was close to that pace most recently. Those internal splits, they were a little bit quick, and he stuck around at the end of it. I thought that was a sneaky good effort, and I wouldn't be surprised. He's 15-1 on the morning line. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he outruns his odds.
A horse that should take a good amount of money in here is the number 10, Canadian Game. This is a Southern California invader for J. Paul Redham, Doug O'Neill. Now he's with Glenn Todd, who's winning 27% at Hastings. And while this horse is only 1 for 10 lifetime, you can make the argument that the horses he's been running against down at Del Mar, down at Santa Anita, down at Los Al match up very well with the horses he's going to be facing on Saturday.
Yeah, specifically that run 2 starts back where he ran second, and you see the 5th and 6th place finisher next out winners with 83 and 75 buyers. The most recent run, though, I'll admit, I'm a little bit concerned about the field. Show me the loot. We know what he is at this point. He never panned out. He looked like he was supposed to be something, never really developed. He only earned a 65 in his next start, and he was over 5 lengths clear of Canadian Game. There's a part of me that wonders, look, I respect him, and again, I think you need to use him defensively, but he's the kind of horse I do wonder, do you have an opportunity to try to beat him at a shortish price?
I think you have a chance here simply because he's 1 for 10. I wonder how much improvement is coming, and he's going to have to try this bull ring configuration for the first time. And that could be startling for some horses, but the Redhams people know what they're doing. Canadian Game, a logical contender, picking up Aaron Greider. Brave Nation is the number 11. This horse handled Hastings in a stretch out last time out. No problems, overcame a slow pace. The problem is the fig came back slow as well.
Yeah, again, another horse in here that unfortunately just feels like is too slow right now to be competitive. Although I will say, if you go back to that run 3 starts back at the end of May when he was still with Bill Mott, that 78 buyer, that gives him a puncher's chance in here.
And again, distance seems to really suit this horse very nicely. Formulator fact for the 12, Weekend Wizard for trainer Craig McPherson. Past 5 years, 3-year-old dirt routers coming off a mild-sized layoff, 31 to 44 days, 25% winners, 223 ROI. This horse is very, very dangerous. He's 7-2 on the morning line. He won at Hastings at 1 mile and a 16th 2 starts back, and he popped an 88 buyer speed figure, and boy, he just basically battled it out on the front end with another horse, drew clear on the turn, and then just romped in the stretch. And as we take a look at our top picks for this race, we have to talk about his most recent performance at Emerald Downs, where he dueled with another horse through some hot fractions, put that one away, and then arguably the best 3-year-old in the Pacific Northwest came and got him in the stretch. That was a big effort for Weekend Wizard.
Yeah, I mean, there's really a lot pointing toward this horse as a logical contender, not just the figures, but the way that he runs out there. He's tenacious, he's game. He can go out there and press the pace and still not feel the effects of it late in the run. You brought up that most recent run. You know, the winner came back and was a next out winner with a 79. The fourth place finisher, a next out winner with an 83. And he was 9 and change clear of the third place finisher that day. So this horse is in very, very good form. I suppose the only concern for me anyway, boy, that outside post, that's no bargain. I know they're going to break from the chute, but there's a real scenario where even with that early speed that he has, he's probably going to be hung 2 or 3 paths wide, I'd imagine, going into the first of 3 turns. Perhaps that ends up being a little bit of a problem for him, but I just think the form that he's in with the tactical speed, I think that makes him a logical contender.
I think they're going to break running and try to establish a good forward position, if not outright the early lead. A mile and an eighth, yes, it's a question mark, especially if he has to work hard early. We saw that last time out, but his sire Rosberg, a son of AP Indy, was a stakes winner at 11 furlongs. I think there's at least enough pedigree for the 12 Weekend Wizard. You like him on top. I'm kind of leaning 12-2.
I went 12, 6, 10, 2. I think this is an interesting spot where you can get some other bigger prices underneath, and perhaps they can spice up some exotics for you if you don't want to just completely go chalk.
Really fun card at Hastings on Saturday. Bet it with a new DRF Bets account. You'll be rewarded with a 300% deposit match. You deposit 50, you bet with 200. Bets.drf.com is where you need to go for all the information. Approximate post time for the Grade 3 British Columbia Derby, 5:25 Pacific. Good luck.